That snorkel isn't a styling choice. That's Chevrolet telling you, without saying a single word, that this truck was engineered for places where coming back empty-handed isn't an option. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the Colorado ZR2 RECON 3500 exists, and it has nothing to do with the consumer truck market. Not originally. There's one engineering decision buried in this platform that Chevrolet won't discuss publicly, and once I tell you what it is, everything else on this truck makes complete sense. Is this worth what they're asking? My answer depends entirely on which version of you is writing that check. We're covering the suspension architecture and interior that's going to stop you cold, and what's under the hood to back all of it up. But first, here's the piece of the story the spec sheet won't give you. Here's what stands out first, and it's not the light bar and it's not the winch. It's the suspension geometry. The RECON 3500 appears to run a purpose-built multi-link rear arrangement, not a leaf spring setup GM has carried on for working trucks for decades. That's a consequential decision. Leaf springs are cheap, durable, and predictable. They're also fundamentally reactive. They respond to terrain after the wheel has already hit it. A properly tuned multi-link system maintains consistent tire contact under articulation that would unload a leaf-sprung axle entirely. What I'm hearing from people close to the program is that the RECON brief didn't start with "build a better off-road truck." It started with a mobility requirement: sustained operation in communications-denied, austere terrain. The consumer truck is the civilian derivative of that work. Speculative tech number 1, what I'd call predictive terrain damping. Forward-facing sensors read surface geometry approximately 0.8 seconds ahead and precondition damper load before the wheel makes contact. Current adaptive systems react. This one anticipates. The engineering case is straightforward. By the time a reactive damper receives the signal, the energy spike has already entered the chassis. Preconditioning eliminates that entirely at the source. That tells you what the chassis is doing. Now let's talk about where you sit while it does it. Step inside and the contradiction hits you immediately. Outside, a truck built to ford rivers and navigate boulder fields. Inside, cognac leather across every seating surface. Full diamond quilting on the cushions, red contrast stitching throughout, and ambient lighting running the full length of the door sills, and a wood-grain center console that belongs in a luxury sports sedan. This is a $90,000 bracket interior specification on a truck that's also wearing recovery boards on the roof rack. The door panels tell the fuller story. Dark hard shell upper cap, transitioning to a wood-grain trim accent. Both lightweight and resistant to flex fatigue, which matters when door panels are being stressed by constant off-road movement and temperature cycling. Midsection in perforated diamond quilted cognac leather. Full leather armrest below. 3 distinct material zones, 1 panel. That's not indulgence. When panels flex repeatedly over rough terrain, zoning the materials reduces stress concentration at transition points. It's real engineering dressed up in something that happens to look expensive, because it is. The infotainment spans what looks to be 12 to 13 inches in landscape format, wide enough for split-screen terrain readouts alongside navigation. Speculative tech number 2, an active mission display integrating pitch, roll, wheel articulation, and remaining suspension travel at each corner directly onto the digital cluster. Not a gimmick, a sensor fusion readout telling you exactly how much articulation remains before a wheel lifts. If you've ever been on a serious trail picking a line at 3 miles per hour in the dark, that information changes every decision you make. Where I think they've left something on the table, that crystal-cut gear selector. It looks remarkable, genuinely striking, but on a truck built for gloved hand use in cold weather conditions, tactile feedback matters more than visual drama. It's the one piece that feels like it answered the wrong brief. The interior earns its price bracket, but here's what most people miss, and it changes the entire story you've been watching. Here's what I can share about the origin brief. The requirement was 72-hour sustained operation in terrain with no resupply and no communications. That single requirement drove the suspension architecture, the interior materials specification, and the third engineering decision, which is under the hood. You've seen two. The third one's coming. Start at the front. That steel bash bumper is a full replacement unit, not a styled overlay, with an integrated winch mount, dual auxiliary cube lights, and D-ring recovery points rated for real extraction loads. The functional hood vent vents engine bay heat under sustained high-load crawling, not decorative. The riveted fender flares are bolted, not bonded. That's intentional. Trail damage to a bonded flare means bodywork. Bolted flares mean a socket set in 20 minutes. Ground clearance appears to be in the 11 to 12-inch range based on arch gap and proportion against known Colorado dimensions. The mud terrain tires look to be 35s, possibly 37s. At that diameter on a mid-size platform, differential gearing recalibration is non-negotiable to maintain accurate speedometer reading and functional toe torque multiplication. Rear integrated spare carrier on the tailgate, fuel can mount, recovery boards, and a square tube bed rack that appears genuinely load-rated. The dual exhaust exits are positioned well for water crossing clearance, not an accident. Design tells you the capability promise. The powertrain tells you whether it's earned. Splatform baseline. The 2.7-liter turbocharged four-cylinder producing around 310 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque, or optionally the 3.6-liter V6 at 308 horsepower. For the RECon application, the torque curve matters more than peak numbers. You need 350 pound-feet available at 1800 RPM, held flat through the mid-range. Against a Tacoma TRD Pro, 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque, the RECon carries a meaningful low RPM advantage on sustained climbs where the TRD runs out of torque and you're already in a lower gear than you wanted to be. Speculative tech number 3. Terrain-Predictive Torque Distribution, using IMU data combined with GPS topographic mapping to pre-allocate torque front to rear and side to side up to half a second before the terrain demands it. Current systems react to wheel spin after it begins. A predictive system uses known terrain grade and real-time body attitude to get ahead of the demand. The result is cleaner line execution with less drama and less wear on the drivetrain over a full day of technical terrain. All of that brings us to the window sticker and whether the number on it is actually defensible. Now here's what I actually think, and I want to be completely straightforward with you. The defense mobility backstory isn't a marketing narrative. It's the reason the interior is that good on a truck this aggressive. When you're engineering for 72 hours sustained crew operation in austere terrain, you don't cut corners on where those people spend those 72 hours. That's why the leather is that leather. That's why the door panels have 3 material zones. Everything in that cabin has a reason. Pricing. Expect a window sticker between $58,000 and $72,000 depending on powertrain and package. For context, a fully loaded Tacoma TRD Pro runs $58,000 and doesn't come close on interior specification or factory trail equipment integration. A Ford Ranger Raptor lands around $55,000 with comparable off-road credentials, but no factory snorkel, no full steel bumper, and no bed rack system. The RECon commands a premium. And the factory integrated capability justifies it in a way aftermarket builds never quite do, because bolt-on modifications always depreciate as parts. A factory-built truck depreciates as a truck. On depreciation, low-volume factory-integrated off-road trucks have historically held residual value better than stock trucks with aftermarket additions. If you're looking at this as a 5-year vehicle and trading in a current Colorado or ZR2, that's a real number worth running before you dismiss the sticker. Here's the call. If you run multi-day overlanding trips, work in genuinely remote terrain, or want the most seriously engineered mid-size off-road truck available from the factory right now, this is the strongest option in the segment. Full stop. If your off-road use is weekend dirt roads and the occasional trail, the standard ZR2 saves you $20,000 and gets you 80% of the capability. The engineering decision I teased at the open. It's the suspension architecture, purpose-built for preemptive terrain response, not reactive correction. That's what the 72-hour brief demanded. Now you know why everything else followed. At the Open, I said that Snorkel wasn't a styling choice. Having walked the full engineering story, I'd say it's less a declaration and more a resume. For the right buyer, every line item on that resume is worth the ask. I genuinely like your take, especially if you've run serious miles on a TRD Pro or built out your own overland rig. Drop it below. RECON versus Ranger Raptor, that's the next one. If this kind of analysis is what you're here for, subscribe. See you then.